Thank you for watching. My name is Glenn Morgan, and this is We the Govern. Now, what are we planning to do next year as 2021 rolls out? Well, stay tuned, and we'll tell you. One thing that people oftentimes ask me is, what are your future plans? What are you planning to do at We the Governed? I like your videos, or I like your stories. We want to know, kind of get a sense of what's coming up. And often, I don't usually do that because you really have to adapt to whatever's coming down the road. And government, in its infinite wisdom and craziness, really, it ends up providing a lot of stuff that you couldn't predict that you'd want to cover, or stories you'd want to do. However, there are a couple of obvious things, as 2020 is basically almost over, and we've had one of the craziest years that I've ever experienced, and probably most people watching this video. But we're having to look for 2021, and the question is, what is planned for 2021? And we do have some plans here at We the Governed, and I thought I would go over this with people who are interested and give you some ideas of a few of the projects that we know for sure we're going to be working on. Now, to start out with, one of the more obvious things is that we're approaching this bizarre situation in Washington State where basically the governor is planning to do kind of a Zoom legislative session, a remote legislative session. So we know that if you are a politician on one of these committees, especially if you're going to be a Republican, I expect that this is going to be the screen right here that you're going to end up, people are going to see when you start to say things that the governor doesn't want you to hear. Or if you want to go and testify on a bill, this is about what's going to happen to you as well. You're going to get this screen that says, sorry, the Zoom meeting's not working, you can't have it. Inslee's going to be laughing because in this chaotic sort of environment, this is going to be a great opportunity for him to push through as many tax hikes as he possibly can, or at least as many as he can justify, because I am positive, based on what Inslee says, that we are only 2 to 3 tax hikes away from utopia. So this is going to be an interesting legislative session, and it's going to be chaotic, and it's certainly going to be the furthest thing from transparent that we can get. However, when Zoom does work, and when we're actually able to see these politicians, at least we should be able to get some classic video of them saying exactly what they think. So stay tuned for that. That should be very interesting. Another thing that we plan to focus on, and I've written a couple articles on it as 2020 has kind of devolved into some of the chaos that it has, is going to be some of the election fraud reports. Now, for those of you who are out doing the doorbelling, that means that the information you're collecting will start to be explaining what we're finding in the field as far as fake voters or double voters or people who moved long ago and somehow are still voting even though the post office says they can't find them. And of course, the Resurrection Chronicles, which will be about people who seem to have discovered that there's more to life after death than just voting. And of course, as more practical application to this process, it's very much an activist, grassroots-driven sort of effort. We hope to try to clean up the voting rolls from some of the obvious problems that we've already found and that I've already reported on. Something else to keep things interesting as we move ahead, because it looks like the lockdown era is not behind us and it's going to last for quite a bit longer if Governor Inslee has his way and if the political class seems to have no repercussions for locking down our society as long as possible. So there's going to inevitably be more stories to talk about, some of basically to tell out there of people who are being destroyed by government and some of these absurd rules and impositions of rules. And of course, the stories of hypocrites with a heavy hand who aren't following their own rules. This seems like it's going to be producing quite a few stories for us to follow up on. Some we're working on right now and some we haven't yet covered, but that seems to be inevitable. I also have a new series I'm planning to start here. I like local government. I like focusing on stories about local government. And we're going to be doing a series called Weirdos and Heroes in Local Government, because the truth is we have some of both. Not everybody's a bad guy or a weirdo. Not everybody's a hero. But it's worth talking about both types of politicians and bureaucrats that we seem to be getting into these positions of high authority, since they seem to have so much control and impact on our daily lives. It seems like we should pay a little bit more attention to who they are. Additionally, there's going to be a series that I'd like to focus on. I've always wanted to kind of focus on the court system a little bit, because this is where our freedoms and liberty goes to die, at least in Washington State, and I don't think our state's alone. And our judges are basically killing the Constitution every chance they get. And there's not nearly enough focus that's spent on what they're doing. If you read the Washington State Constitution, it's actually a wonderful document that provides a lot of individual freedom and rights. And yet, if you look at the decisions that the Supreme Court and other judges in Washington State have set up, the results are very harmful, and they've basically become the place where our freedoms and our liberties get destroyed one decision at a time, and they deserve a lot more attention. So the other part that is going to be inevitable as we kind of move forward is just continuing to focus on the fact that we are in the process of being censored as much as possible. It's not just that there's a tame media that only report what the government tells them to do. It's that as the censors come in and want to try to stop and adapt and shadow ban and cancel or take away our ability to communicate, we're going to have to find ways of adapting. And it's going to be just one of those issues. This 2021 really seems to be kind of a pivotal year for this issue. And we're going to be exploring new platforms, new places to share messages, new ways to hopefully exist censor-free. Big Brother seems to not just be willing to watch, they want to actually come in and silence and censor you. And since the left has so many wonderful ideas that are so great, they have to use force and censorship in order to promote them, it seems like this is just an inevitable path that we're going to be traveling down. So I expect to hear more about this, expect to work with other activists and other people who are concerned and explore ways of being able to still stay involved despite the censors' heavy hand and despite their effort to try to silence those who think differently. So with that, that's my basic analysis for 2021. Everything will probably be out the window once we get started because something will change dramatically and other opportunities and stories will pop up. But that's kind of the plan that I have going forward. If you have anything you want me to add to this list, please make sure you do so. And just let me know down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If you want to learn more, go to wethegovern.com. Make sure to follow both our website as well as our YouTube channel in case YouTube decides to take away the channel on us. And let me know if there's anything you think we missed or any other ideas that you have. I do appreciate that. Please remember to share and promote this video with your friends and others who you think might be interested. And don't forget that when it comes to activism and being involved, the future does belong to those who show up.